It was a dark and stormy night, and Sarah had just arrived at her new home in the countryside. She had moved there to escape the hustle and bustle of city life and start anew. The house was old and creaky, but it had charm and character. As Sarah was settling in, she noticed strange things happening around the house. The doors would slam shut on their own, and the windows would rattle in the middle of the night. At first, she dismissed it as the wind or the house settling, but the occurrences became more frequent and intense. One night, as Sarah was getting ready for bed, she heard footsteps coming from the hallway. She got up to investigate, but no one was there. She then heard whispers and murmurs coming from the walls. She tried to ignore it, but the noises only got louder and more disturbing. Sarah began to feel like she was being watched. She would catch glimpses of shadows and figures moving around the house. She tried to convince herself that it was just her imagination, but she knew deep down that something was not right. One night, as Sarah was lying in bed, she felt a cold breath on the back of her neck. She turned around, but no one was there. Suddenly, she felt a hand grab her ankle and pull her under the bed. She screamed and thrashed, but the grip was too strong. She was dragged into the darkness. When Sarah woke up, she found herself in a room she had never seen before. The walls were covered in blood, and the air was thick with the stench of death. She tried to get up, but her hands and feet were bound. She was trapped. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the doorway. It was a tall, gaunt man with sunken eyes and a twisted grin. He was holding a rusty knife. Sarah knew then that she was in the presence of pure evil. The man began to speak in a low, guttural voice. He told her that he had been living in the house for decades, and that he had been waiting for someone like Sarah to come along. He explained that he needed her to stay there with him, to keep him company in his solitude. He told her that he would take care of her, that he would never let her leave. Sarah was terrified. She knew that she had to escape, but she didn't know how. She begged and pleaded with the man to let her go, but he only laughed and told her that she was his now, forever. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah became weaker and weaker. She knew that she would not survive much longer in the man's captivity. But then, one day, she heard a sound coming from the other side of the wall. It was a faint tapping sound. She realized that it was Morse code, and that someone was trying to communicate with her. She tapped back, and to her relief, she discovered that it was a group of teenagers who had been exploring the abandoned house next door. They had heard her cries for help and had come to rescue her. With their help, Sarah was able to break free from her captor and escape. She never returned to that house again, and she never forgot the horrors that she had experienced.